and the chief baseball officer of the Boston Red Sox, Craig Breslow, joins us this week. Hey, Craig, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing great. I nice win last night for these guys, and even though the injury bug has struck, it seems like this team is finding ways to win baseball games.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Obviously, the injuries have been tough, and injuries to key players particularly difficult. But this is a resilient group. The players and the coaching staff, continue to grind and figure out ways to stay in games, and fortunately, figure out ways to win a handful. We saw Criswell come out and throw a 5 shutout last night. Abreu's been really, really hot lately and helped kind of carry the load in Rafi and Tyler's absence, and we're going to need others to step up as well.
Brian Bayo goes on the IL. I think we talked to Sam Kennedy about this. I don't know if we've gotten your thoughts on it yet, but just kind of in Major League Baseball in general, a lot of discussion about these pitchers and injuries early. What do you put the blame on when it comes to that?
Yeah, I wish I had a better answer than the one I'm about to give you, but I think that there are a number of considerations here. Number one, injuries always seem to spike early in the season. There's a pretty significant ramp up in workload and volume and intensity. I think training trends have moved toward more work in the off seasons, guys pursuing velocity gains, bat speed gains, trying to hit the ball harder, throw the ball faster. I don't know that any team has figured this out, as evident by the number of guys on the IL, but it's definitely a conversation we need to have, and it's definitely something that's at the forefront of our minds.
Craig, when we talked to you before the season, you were adamant about making sure that you guys are growing within when it came to, of course, your pitching staff. When you look at Cooper Criswell from last night, only his 4th MLB start, how impressed are you with him? And does that give you a nod of confidence that you were maybe right during the offseason when everybody was giving you a hard time about not adding to your pitching staff?
I don't know that it's about kind of being right or not right. I think it's a belief in the guys that we have here, in the staff that we've brought in, and the changes that we've made. And obviously Cooper was a guy that we had targeted throughout the offseason, and we're really glad that, ultimately we were able to get him. But I think there's a good system in place for our pitchers to either take the next step forward in the big leagues or take a step forward in the minor leagues and be able to assimilate into the big leagues much easier, much more smoothly. And I think, it's fairly simple, right? We're leveraging our best pitches. We're attacking hitters in the strike zone. I think Andrew and the rest of the staff have done a great job of instilling and inspiring confidence in the group. And now everyone's bought in. And so, it's really, really difficult to overcome absences from Pivetta and Whitlock and Giolito and Bayo. And it's going to take guys like Criswell and Chase Anderson and Zach Kelly and others to step in. But I do feel like there's a system in place that can elicit the best outcomes for them.
Craig, how much of the message of making sure that as a team you guys stay ahead of the schedule, especially early in the season, because of the toughness of playing in the AL East?
I think it's really important. We're actively having conversations with our medical staff, with the front office, with our coaching staff, with the players around opportunities to get guys off their feet, to bake in extra days rest, to utilize the off days. And we've thought about employing a 6-man rotation, which is particularly difficult right now, given 80% of our rotation being on the IL. But I think we have to stay ahead of this, because typically what happens when either your starters or bullpen shoulder a significant workload early in the season, you tend to pay the price later on. And so we need to be disciplined around finding ways to get extra rest at this point.
I don't know. Tanner Houck was really advocating for being a part of that starting rotation, and seems like so far that decision has paid off.
Yeah, Tanner's been been great. I know he's worked really hard through the offseason, made some small mechanical tweaks in the delivery. He's changed the pitch usage significantly. Kind of honed in on through some pitches on initiatives on ensuring that we're getting the best version of the sinker, the best version of the splitter, the best version of the slider. And I think he's also just got a confidence that maybe he hadn't before, a willingness to attack the strike zone, to challenge hitters. And obviously we've seen the results. We've seen this stuff for a really long time. From the perspective of just pure stuff, he's up there with the best in the league. And it's just been a matter of honing that.
It usually takes guys a bit to rock the dust off after they come back from injury. When you look at Devers, didn't seem like it took him any time at all. How impressed were you with him?
Yeah, I mean, we saw just the difference in the look of the lineup when you can put him in the middle of it. Such a presence, such a dangerous at bat, and we saw it right away. But fortunately, the nature of the injury, first some of the shoulder irritation, and then knee, was that he wasn't completely inactive over time. He was able to continue to track pitches and hit BP, and so I think that probably accelerated the timeline for him to kind of feel comfortable in the box. But he's also just such a naturally gifted hitter that I think he wakes up and feels pretty comfortable standing in the batter's spot.
All right, important one for me. Who do you want the Patriots to draft tonight?
I know better than to speak up about those things. I'm gonna stay in my lane here.
Craig, is there any part of you that sees the rotation get decimated and looks across the league to the National League and sees Chris Sale having made 4 starts, all over 5 1/3 innings?
I would be lying if I didn't say that I, kind of paid attention to what guys are doing that, we're here and we've traded, because I think there are valuable lessons to be learned from that. Nonetheless, in the moment and today, I feel like that was a trade that needed to be made to improve the Boston Red Sox. I would do it again. And I think we're kind of now looking at Baum's return, fairly soon. And my hope is, we're going to look at him as a guy who plays second base every day, puts together a quality at bat, and is someone that we're running into the lineup every day and feel really good about.
All right, Craig. Well, go ahead.
No, I was just going to real quick. I was going to ask, because you talked about injuries, and coming from a world of football and different sports, one of the things that I think people tend to look towards is training camp, spring training. Is it too long? Is it too short? Is there something that you would change there that maybe, might get guys ready to go at the season, that might help them with injuries? Do you feel like it's too long? It's too short?
It's a fair question. I think spring training is largely the length that it is to give starting pitchers a chance to ramp up and build up the volume they need to head into the season. I think what we're up against, though, is if we cut spring training in half, in terms of length, the time that we save would not be idle time for players. They would just use that to train, kind of in their home environments. And so I don't know that that's the solution. I think players are just so incentivized to throw the ball fast and hit the ball far. And, now there are training methods that are proven to improve those characteristics. And I don't know how you disincentivize players to pursue them.
All right, Craig, thanks for taking the time. We'll talk to you again soon.